Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sunshine Sessions, conversations with Central Florida's community leaders. I'm Evelyn Alisea, and today I am super excited to introduce you to Rick Whitted. He is the CEO of U.S. Hunger. He's also a published author. He authored a book called Outgrow Your Workspace. He is the host of a podcast called On Your Way to Work. He's a speaker. He's a dynamic guy, and I'm super happy to have him. Welcome, Rick.
Thanks, Evelyn. It's good to be here.
Thanks. So tell us a little bit about U.S. Hunger and the work that you're doing in the community.
Yeah, we have been around since 2010. So our founder, Don Campbell, at the time, felt moved to respond to the earthquake in Haiti, and we were then feeding children everywhere, and him and his family around the very table in our meeting space out front started packing meals and getting it over to Haiti, and it has grown to what it has become today. So we coordinate meal packs, small ones, large ones. It can be a retreat of a handful of corporate executives or employees to an arena of 5,000 volunteers packing 1,000,000 meals all day long. So that's our hunger project, what I call mission strategy. And then we also provide food that we ship directly to food insecure families through our full cart program. And in that program, we're surveying and trying to understand kind of the more important question: why are they hungry in the first place? And so families are telling us their stories and what they need, and we catalog that well. And to date, we have a database of approaching 200,000 lived experience stories that are really identifying root causes to hunger. So fascinating what we do.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's an incredible team.
Right. Now, it started local, but now you are nationwide. Is that right?
We are. We're national. Our full cart program ships to all 48 continental states. Our meal packing program, we are doing meal packs in all 50 states. Even international, we haven't done that since the pandemic, but we will, get back to that at some point in the future. But we have shipped more than 150 million meals since our inception through our Hunger Project business across 54 countries, mostly in the U.S., but international as well.
Wow. You mentioned, I'd like to ask you a little bit about the issue. What would you say is the root cause of the hunger issue?
It's an interesting question. So on the map behind me, this is, part of our technology. We map in real time where we're helping. You can see that's probably one of the best in real-time visuals of food insecurity and nutritional insecurity in the country. It's not about food. It's 100 and almost 80,000 stories in 3 years, and the one definitive statement I can make is that hunger is not about food. It is about other things. It's always socioeconomic in nature, no matter what the race, no matter what the ethnicity, the language, the gender identity, sexual orientation, it doesn't matter.
Right.
The one commonality in all of those communities is socioeconomic challenges, and we are finding individuals are just finding it harder to make those end meet. So as an example, 97% of our families say can't afford the basics, food and transportation and rent. They're struggling to keep up. 92% are skipping meals.
Wow.
They're making sure the kids eat, but they're skipping meals. We met a family at an event we did with one of our national sponsors, Sarah Lee, in Atlanta. We did a Table of Love event. One family that was there told us afterwards, when we followed up to see how things went, thank you so much. My sister and I, we kind of pooled together, and this was the first full meal we'd had in 2 days. We've been buying snacks, a bunch of snacks, so that our kids, could eat. So that story sounds like food, but the story was an economic story. Rent had gone up significantly, and you have to swap out that additional in rent for the grocery bill.
Yeah.
And I would say, if you think about, food as an issue, here's what you have to realize. It's the most flexible of what's called social determinants of health, these social and economic things that impact a population's health, like accessibility to transportation, to healthcare, to where I live, the social context that I'm surrounded in, accessibility to education, etc. Those things. The most flexible of those determinants is food. So here's what I mean. I can go from lobster and steak to beef to ground beef to um, hamburger helper to beans and rice and beans. There is no equivalent
Yeah.
scale for housing
Yeah.
or transportation or underemployment.
Hmm.
There is no equivalent. And what I've found in this space is we have spent so much time and energy and conversation around the symptom, hunger, or nutritional insecurity, without asking that layer up question, why are they hungry? And so even if we were asking, well, how are we documenting that? How are we capturing that? How are we capturing the voice of the family that is going through that? And what I've found today is that there are not many places that can, in a scalable way, capture the lived experience testimony from the voice of the family or the individual who's going through that. And instead, what I've found is that we substitute imputed and publicly available data, which is not bad data necessarily. The problem with it is it makes a generalized assumption of a population, number one.
Right.
That's not dignified. Number two, it's solving yesterday's problems tomorrow, because
Right.
that's something that's happened in the past. And so the system we design, you see these dots, we're tracking in real time those families, where they are, what their stories are,
Wow.
what communities are they steeped in? Are they steeped in food deserts? Are they in, poverty map areas? And we're capturing the whole story around what they tell us their story is from their own words. And when you have that kind of information, it's very powerful,
Sure.
because you start debunking a lot of myths, right? Like they don't have jobs. Well, 67 almost percent of our population are gainfully employed.
Right.
They just don't have enough.
Right.
82% have health insurance, and half of them almost are private employed insurance companies. It's not Medicare and Medicaid.
Right.
And so when you start listening to the stories and talking to individuals, that's dignity.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of programs talk about dignity, but you cannot give dignity if you don't first give someone voice.
Right.
And what a lot of the programs don't capture well today is the voice of those individuals, and it changes. It
Sure.
changes in real time. A pandemic in 2020, 19th on our list of self-reported chronic illnesses, it was obesity. In 21, that was number 5. In 22, it was number 4.
Wow.
Year to date, and that's 37,000 families that have reached out to us. It's number 3. They're eating. They're just not eating well, right? Because a Big Mac is cheaper than 4 cucumbers.
That's sad to say, but
Yeah,
true.
but it's true.
Tell us a little bit about the map and what these dots represent and how this technology what impact the technology has had on your organization.
It's incredible, right? I think it's Microsoft's CEO who said, if you're not a technology company today, you won't be a company tomorrow.
That's right.
And so coming here from corporate world of 30 years, and then overnight the pandemic happens. That was my first month in the role.
Gosh, welcome
Everything
to your new
went away.
job,
Right,
right?
that's exactly
Oh my
right.
gosh.
And we're going, okay, I need this information, and we didn't have it. So we brought in who today is our CTO, Chief Technology Officer, Ezekiel Brooks. We brought him in and said, make our systems talk. The moment they began talking, we started to see these trends and these patterns, and then we geo-mapped it. And so you can see where these families are in real time, and I could zoom in anywhere on the map. For example, as I zoom into Florida, we're right here kind of in the Orlando and the Seminole area. So we zoom right in there, and then I can look at these families that are needing help in context of food deserts, right? And I can see where the dots lie in and around food deserts. And if in the red, the pink is food deserts. And if I I can look and see how they layer with the poverty map, and I can start to see that I have families that live in an area that's not a poverty area.
But they're red.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Because I'm going to sacrifice a good place for my babies to live, and
Right.
I'll just subsidize what I can, beans and rice and beans, if that's
Right.
what I have to do. My family did it for me, right?
Right. Right.
And so that texture, that the flesh on those stories become real when you take this kind of real-time data, but then you begin to layer that with every one of them has a story and they've shared it with us. And we don't take that lightly. So this is just a bit of what bringing data forward thinking that every business knows to the social impact world. And it's something that I think is a real deficit in our community. And I'm seeing an emphasis and a focus on it a lot more than I have. So just glad to be a part of that.
That's great. So the red is
Red is not good.
okay.
We haven't found funding for
Okay.
those families. We are still a nonprofit today. We're working on sustainable means of helping these families. But today we don't feed our donors, our partners, the corporations that believe in what we do. They feed.
So you're the conduit.
We're the conduit.
Mhm.
We're the broker
Right.
of impact. But it's their impact.
And the green are the folks that have
Green are the places we have been able to provide food for. And so what you're seeing here is, a timestamp of since the pandemic. But if I zoom
okay.
out, you'll see a lot of dots. We kind of cluster them so that it doesn't look like a rash. But you begin to see the problem
Yeah.
nationally that we have in the U.S. Food insecurity is alive and well and real. In fact, we are, in August now, we're approaching 38,000 families that have found us. We don't advertise, we don't market, we don't solicit,
Wow.
we don't even want to because
Yeah.
we can't
Right.
keep up now until we solve that. We are working to solve that, but even without that, look at the number of folks that are just looking for a discrete place to get help.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about what a food desert is.
So it's actually a definition by the USDA, and we use the 110 definition, and so that's if you live in a metro area, you're what they call it walkability, so it's more than a mile to get to fresh, healthy food. If you live in a rural area, it's 10 miles, and if
Okay.
you live in a real remote rural area, it's 40 miles. And so it's just a definition that the USDA uses. But it's not really the issue because as I can show you places, food is the accessibility question of food is not geography, it's affordability.
Right.
It's can I afford it? And so you can be in a green spot or a red spot, doesn't matter. If you can't afford it, that red's not a problem. If you can't afford it, the green is still a problem.
That's right.
So it really is about access is about my ability to acquire it.
So what keeps you up at night?
These red dots, they drive me nuts. And we're working on solving that. And we do think that there's a pathway with healthcare because a very large 82% of our families have health insurance. And health plans are more and more being prompted and really challenged to address kind of the non-clinical elephant in the room, these social conditions
Right.
that either create or exacerbate health conditions. So 52% of our families are reporting chronic illnesses. That's a huge percentage of folks that are hungry. And the top five are arthritis, hypertension, obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Cancer is in the top 10, it's number 8. And so you see this direct connection to hunger or nutritional insecurity and health. And we're really, really excited about that, being able to show that connectivity in real time.
Yeah, so tell us what that looks like, how you believe that the connectivity to the healthcare industry,
Yeah.
what does it look like? How will that really help your organization find and really assist better.
Yeah, I tell you, I think our team is really on the forefront. I mean, I'm blessed. I couldn't think of a better team to be a part of. I really don't lead anything. I try to move problems out of the way. But we're really focused in on what's called Z codes. Z is in zebra.
Mm-hmm.
Z codes is a documenting code for social determinants of health. These socioeconomic conditions that impact a population's health. So Z codes document things like housing inadequacy, lack of air, mold, lead, pest infestations in a home. Z codes document that. They also document food insecurity. They document transportation accessibility. All of the determinants, the social determinants of a population's health, Z codes are documenting codes. Well, those codes are part of the medical code system, the ICD-10 codes. And those are codes that are pioneered by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And they're really challenging healthcare to solve this, help them identify these social determinants because they are seeing large patterns of health disparities or health inequities by communities. And so CMS is saying to Healthcare America, hey, you need to figure out what these are. You need to understand what these are. And it's harder for them to uncover those because people don't tell strangers and corporations that.
Right.
But when you're an organization like U.S. Hunger or some of our peers in the community that are doing incredible work, we do know those stories. We do have that trust, and those families are willing to share because we're not a place of judgment. They know what we're there for.
Right.
One of the reasons our platform is virtual, and it's fully virtual, is
So
because
no one can come here to pick up food.
Correct. We ship it to them,
Okay.
and they find us online, and they request assistance online in that way, and we stay in touch with them until we find funding, which is getting harder and harder to find. And so, from that perspective, it's a judgment-free zone. You come online. I don't have to feel awkward about telling a stranger. And to be quite honest, people trust their personal devices a whole lot more than they trust strangers.
It's unfortunately true.
It's true.
More and more.
And so they're willing to share. We don't come from a place of, a motive other than helping people. And so we do get that implicit trust. And we think that's a bridge to connect healthcare to what it needs to understand more and more.
Right.
And so our end game, our end goal of designing this tool is to really give it away to the community-based organizations. It's harder to do than you think. We've tried.
I bet.
We have tried to give it away.
Really?
And said, let's partner. And it's just the environment is so siloed way too often.
Why do you think, though? I mean, because you're all doing this for the greater good. Why is it so tough?
It's, I 30 years in corporate banking, and I thought it would be different. But the truth is we're all still businesses, right? And the way funding, as I've said, I'm still going to take advantage of saying I'm an outsider looking in on the social impact world. But the way funding works today, philanthropies are not kind of pushing and mandating collaboration. And when they do, it's less of, all right, Evelyn, you've got a great idea. Rick's team has a great idea. I want you two to get together. Give me a model that works with both of you doing work together. And so that the people you're helping, you're giving them one ecosystem. Right. If you do that, I'll give each of you $1 million. You know what we would do? We would figure it out.
Yeah.
Today's grants say, Evelyn, okay, you're the winner. I'm going to give you the money, but you need to partner with somebody, So, and you say, well, I'm going to use Rick's food. Well, that's not collaboration. That's a vendor. So you're using a product of mine, and it's not the same thing. And
right.
I don't think philanthropy, hopefully they're waking up to that, but they're creating some of that silo. And unfortunately, that creates an instinct to survive as a company. That creates a bad behavior of trying to corner a market, right? And the world of social impact, you don't corner it. We're not trying to corner feeding people or helping people or getting information. We want to bring folks together, and more that's resonating with some of our philanthropic and corporate partners. And we're saying to them, help us give it away.
Right.
Fund the licensing for others to just have this service so that these are their dots. And there are some companies that they try to orchestrate bringing impact organizations together, but they're not giving them that information back. They're not getting their information in real time. And
But you are.
but we are, right? And so our goal is to give it away. And so
Will this help, you think, with funding?
I think it will. It is,
Okay.
to be candid. We this past year we announced a 3-year $1 million commitment from Sara Lee Breads, the Sara Lee brand, a great organization, and they came to us and said, "Hey, we're in the business of providing a great product with love, and we know our market. Our market is moms.
Yeah.
We have been putting good food on the table for moms for years. We want to understand what moms are going through." And so when they came to us, we said, "Well, we got it.
Yeah.
Here's 10,000 stories about
Wow.
moms." And
Wow.
that resonated with them. And so as a corporation, they said, we give food away all the time. We want to really understand what those root causes are and how we need to act better. Maybe it's not our bread or our food. Maybe we need to be giving micro grants for utilities or whatever. That's encouraging. It's
Right.
so encouraging to
Yeah.
hear companies come to the table. But when you show them this kind of data, now we, as the social impact world, now we're giving them the tools to help solve the right problems and put the jet fuel in the right places. And so, yeah, I think it is resonating. I think more and more as we talk about this, and we'll continue to talk about this, people will understand that it takes a village. It doesn't take 17 homes. It takes a village, and we have to bring that village together. I timed out on this, so I'll just put up the logo there. But if you think about it from that perspective, that's exciting. That's an exciting future, and it's going to happen because stakeholders more and more are saying, "I need to see a social ROI. You have to show me the return on that investment."
Right.
And that's data.
And that's going to help them determine, like you said before, not only how are we helping with the food, the hunger issue, which you say is not the root of the problem, but are there opportunities for us to do other things for the community?
Correct. The truth of the matter, if you came to me and said, "I will give you all the money you need to feed every family if you think that's going to help," I would probably say, "Don't give it to me.
Right.
Let's redirect it to housing and transportation and healthcare, because what I see is those are the primary root causes."
That's right.
And so if I fed every family, the only thing I get to do is feed them tomorrow, and then I have to feed the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. So you have to help them. Our mission says feeding families today and uniting them to a healthier tomorrow. And so, yes, we have to feed them. And we put out 12 to 15 million meals through our meal packing event within the community every year.
Wow.
We put those right back into pantries and food banks and organizations across the country. So we are getting food out in a major way, and that's an important part of our strategy. But this program, the Full Cart program, is about uniting them to a healthier tomorrow. And that's what I love about the organization. Both things are incredible. They're very novel. They're real time in the community, but they work hand in hand together.
Fantastic. So, Rick, how could the community help this cause? I noticed that you don't just do meal packing events here locally, but tell us a little bit about that and how the community can get involved and help the cause.
Yeah, if you've never been to a what we call hunger projects, think karaoke, food packing, dancing, party, community outreach,
confetti,
employee engagement, all in one. It really is. It's an experience, but it's a tangible, fun way to get real close to the reality of hunger. because you're packing, you're having fun, and then you realize this is going on someone's table. So you got to follow food safety. We do them indoors. And so how can you get involved, right? If you're an employer, if you work for another organization, and go bring this to your companies, send us across the country.
Wow.
Year in and year out. We have been doing meal packs for incredible brands. If I name one, I'd have to name them all. But if J.P. Morgan, Citibank, Protivity, Chick-fil-A, Pacific Life, just tons of organizations. Lowe's Hotel right here will do a annual Thanksgiving meal pack in all 8 of their hotel locations every Thanksgiving, and they've been doing it for, I think this is their 10th year.
Amazing.
And so there are a lot of ways to get involved. Most of our packing is through those partners. So some of their events are open, some aren't. Like the Lowe's, that event's open. Doing a very large light Orlando pack on Saturday, 500,000 meals. That's open. But you can reach out to us. Go to ushunger.org and get involved and look at our hunger projects. Or if you want to know more about Full Card, if you're a healthcare organization or a community-based organization and you're looking on how can I plug into that, we'd love to talk to you. But then there's the old-fashioned thing of give, donate.
Yeah, sure.
We'd love for you to just go to ushunger.com/donate. And I don't care if it's $1, $5, $10, $10,000. Every dollar helps us fulfill our mission of feeding families and uniting them to healthier outcomes.
You mentioned earlier that you had 30 years experience in the corporate world, corporate banking.
Banking.
Tell us about that and how having that experience helped you in the position that you're in now.
I didn't think it would. In fact, I kept going, so why did the board, what? I'm a banker, until I got here and the pandemic occurred. Now, fortunately, the 5 or so years prior to leaving banking, I was a regional lead manager for our government and nonprofit banking at J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. And so I understood how to read the financials, determine a good, healthy nonprofit or a municipality. So I did understand that, and I do understand that. What I have come to learn is it's harder to make financials than read them. That has been a humbling experience as a banker. But so I understood what a healthy business looks like. I've been doing that for 30 years. And that has proven to be more helpful than anything because we are still a business.
Right.
We're a business that has a tax code designation, 501c3, and that means we don't pay taxes because there isn't a owner. There is no equity shareholder equity in our organization. The public is the owner. They're the benefit of what we do. And so that makes us an impact, a nonprofit, but we're still a business.
Right.
But it becomes more important to run a good business because if we don't, someone doesn't eat.
That's right.
So the stakes are so much. In banking, I used to say, well, we're not feeding people and we're not solving cancer and hunger. Yeah, we are. And so it behooves us. We actually have a higher threshold of accountability and responsibility as leaders in the nonprofit and community-based world to actually run a good business and not be so stuck to programs because they're programs, but really determine with good information in real time, is this working? Right? And so the point of our system, our impact manager tool, the point of designing that was just so that in real time, a community-based organization can pivot and go, wow, that's not working. That's working.
Right. Let's
redirect. And it helps them tell a much better story to their stakeholders as well. So banking and business you need that. You need that. Technology, you need that for a nonprofit. And too long we've invested into kind of the product itself, like whatever the social good we're doing. And I'm really speaking to the philanthropic world.
Right.
But we haven't invested into the actual infrastructure of the business that produces the good, the impact. That makes no sense. It just makes no sense.
Well, you're changing that.
I hope so.
You're changing
I
that.
hope so.
What do you enjoy most about your role here as CEO at U.S. Hunger?
Our people. We have incredible people. This has been interesting because it's been dynamic it's kind of this blend of business and service and ministry and helping kind of all in one. And so we're very much a business and we're very much family, and that is good and crazy at times, as in everybody's family. But our people are incredible. These people, they are here not because they get paid more than everybody. They are here because they believe in what we do and they take it serious. You don't want to know, when we went through a name change, a rebranding from Feeding Children to U.S. Hunger, that was a big deal. That was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And Feeding Children Everywhere is still our legal name, and we still do business internationally as Feeding Children Everywhere. But because it means more than the company itself to this organization. It means a cause, it means work, it means impact, it means a life, it means an experience and a brand. And I love that. I love that it means that much to our team, and it's why we're still here. Pandemic, we're still here. We didn't do layoffs. We did it the hard way.
Wow.
We suffered
You all
through
went
it.
virtual.
We didn't go virtual because we still had to get food out, but we couldn't have people packing it for us.
Oh, wow.
So we have 3 bays, and we broke into, because at that time, if you remember, you had to have less than 10. We had less than 10 or less than 12 in each bay. We didn't see each other. We saw them go in.
Okay.
We stayed in groups, and we had to pack this food on our own. But it was creative. It was a way to keep them employed, keep us moving, and keep feeding families. That's what I mean by the people. And other folks would have went, are you serious? I'm out of here.
Right.
And we lost some people. They were just scared. But
Yeah.
we didn't lay off anyone. We took the hard way because that's what family do. That's what you do. That's what we do.
And what did you learn from during that pandemic? What did you learn and now do differently in the organization?
So we learned to be data forward. I would say that's number one. You have to have good data. We learned the importance of a connective ecosystem. So logistics and shipping and donors and finance and HR, they have to be connected in real time. We have to know what's going on, whether it's the movement of a product or an impact to a family, or the impact on our culture with our people. We have to be able to see good information in real time about what we're doing, or we may be going off a cliff and we don't know it. So I would say being data forward and not afraid of technology is very important.
So a little bit more about you. I understand that you have a podcast called On Your Way to Work, which I've listened to and I love.
Okay.
You've also written a book called Outgrow Your Workspace.
Yeah. Outgrow your space at work.
Your space at work. I'm sorry, I shortened it there.
All good. Yeah, so the I've got a ton of episodes, so it's not active at the moment. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I bet. I'm thinking, how do you manage all of this?
I've got 5 years of content, and so it's easy to keep. And the truths are truths, so they last.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, I love. I'm a workplace geek. I like understanding culture, why people do what they do, and so that book was therapy for me. Someone who is really focused on their career and their workplace, and then I went through in my mid to late 20s, I started a business for a couple year hiatus and lost everything, and that'll humble you.
Yes, it will.
And when I went back to the workplace, I went back with a very different lens. Like, why am I here? And if I'm not here to help people or connect with people, then why am I here? And when I first started in banking, I remember the hiring manager saying to me, and this was a default choice because I decided at the last minute I do not want to be an attorney. I just backed out, and so I had friends interviewing for, and I said, oh, it was First Union Bank at the time. I don't want to tell my age, but I interviewed and I said, listen, I don't know anything about banking, but some of my friends who been in this program from last year and that are now working for you said I would be great at it, and so I'm here. And he must have spent an hour with me. And when he was done, he said, "Yeah, we're going to hire you." Okay, surprised. And I said, listen, I'm not a business. I don't know anything about business. I'm a political science communication major." And he said, "People don't bank with banks. People bank with people.
People, that's right.
They may come in because the name or the sign on the door, but they will stay or leave because of the people on the inside."
Relationships.
I never forgot that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always been fascinated with that construct. And when you go through a life episode where you lose everything, you have to start over at a young age, you grow up fast.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 little babies at the time. And, my wife and I were just trying to build our lives. And so when I went back into the workplace, it was about how can I help? How can I serve? And that turned out to be an incredible superpower.
Sure.
Because you tap into people.
Right.
And when you understand kind of what's important to them and you understand their why, which is not this place.
Right.
And this is weird. I'm here, and for a lot of our employees, it is family and this mission.
Yeah.
In corporate America, it's family and a paycheck. And so it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Here, it's still family and a paycheck here, but it's mission too.
Right.
In most workplaces, it is, do I trust you? Do you trust me? And do I matter? And is there meaning in what I'm doing? And those are real, true definitions of career progression and promotion.
Right.
But we discount it completely. And we narrowly define it as bigger paycheck or bigger office and bigger name tag. And I have found, and we took a test, we created a test that goes along with Outgrow Your Space. I found out in the thousands of folks that have taken that test, then less than 20% of the population define career progression and promotion as bigger paycheck and bigger job title.
Really?
It is, do I matter? Is there meaning in what I do? Do I trust the people I work for? Do they trust me? Can they grow me and develop me? And those things are more important. Think about it. So you get the biggest job, but you don't trust your manager. You get the biggest paycheck, but you don't trust your manager. Are you progressing? No. Right? And people don't think about that when they're making career decisions. They think about it when they leave, and then they blame the manager.
That's right.
When the truth is, you don't ask the questions of, what didn't I ask?
Right.
What didn't I think about when I was creating, this vision of why this is the perfect job?
Right.
And somewhere along in my career that clicked. And I just started writing this book that eventually made it to life.
Therapy.
Yeah, it really was therapy.
And does everybody here have to read the book?
I give them a copy. They don't. It's funny you say that, because we call it a recharge. Every month our team comes in and we just have a time where we share.
Yeah.
We encourage others. We talk about kind of what's going on, and then we do a development moment. Well, our HR, Becky, our HR manager, people and culture manager, was out, and at the last minute, I said, well, I'll just talk about, Outgrow Your Space. I'll start at the introduction, and it was a hit. And so they're like, we're doing this again, right? So I said, at least for 13 months, there's 13 chapters.
There you go.
Yeah, we talk about it here. They know. It's kind of, I hope it's refreshing for them, because who I am and how I am as a manager. It's in open text, literally.
Right.
And I hope that brings them comfort.
Well, and it's helping them develop.
I hope so. That's my goal.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Okay. Well, this has been amazing to get to know you, to get to know the organization. Can you just tell our viewers where they can find you?
Yes.
In regards to any assistance they can give, whether it's a meal packing event or any events that you have coming up?
Yeah. Go to ushunger.org. It's all one word, ushunger.org. And you'll see a plethora of options there, whether it's our hunger projects or full cart programs or partnering with us in some way. I would also tell you, if you're in the Central Florida area, keep your eyes open. This will be the first year in 2024. We are going to do a very large community pack on MLK Day. It's going to be an MLK Great Day of Service. Our goal is to pack at least 1 million meals with 3,000 to 5,000 volunteers. So keep your ears open for that. More to come. If you're an employer, we're looking for sponsors. Go to mlk.ushunger.org, and it'll tell you all about our sponsor levels and how to participate. So it'll be a great way to come out to the community in Central Florida.
Great. So for opportunities to partner with this organization, now you know how to get in touch with them. And for any of your real estate needs, reach out to me directly. I'm Evelyn Alisea with eXp Realty, and you can contact me at 407-340-8154. Rick, thank you so much.
It's been great.
Thanks for watching.